Last Friday, Bill Maher had Ben Shapiro on his show, and it was a very interesting segment. Now, I agree with about 75% of what Ben Shapiro says, and I agree with about 5% of what Bill Maher says. So I don't really have a dog in this fight, but it was a very interesting conversation because it really illustrated the insanity that is now gripping the left-wing party. And essentially, this starts off by Bill Maher coming out and saying, well, Ben, you're not a Republican diehard, and I'm not a liberal diehard, and we both hate that dichotomy. But, now Trump's in the White House, so I'm going to frame everything in that dichotomy. So that's the way he starts. But really what this whole conversation illustrates is the maxim that if you don't understand your enemy's argument, then you really can't make an argument against it. And really it's absurdly clear that Bill Maher has no idea what the conservative arguments about these topics are. And so he starts off, and especially he doesn't even know what Ben Shapiro's arguments are, because he essentially conducts the entire interview as if Ben Shapiro is a diehard Trump supporter, which if you know anything about him, he is most certainly not. And yet he starts the interview this way.
Okay, so you would not vote for a Democrat under any circumstance or some circumstance?
I mean, I would say some circumstance, but the Democratic Party would have to stop being insane, meaning that they would actually have to approach something like moderation in terms of policy and also present a face that doesn't look like people shouting down people at gas stations or entering restaurants and trying to throw them out.
Okay, well, if you're talking about the civility thing, why don't we start with the Republicans stop saying, lock her up. You don't think that's a worse...
He says that's worse. Don't you think that's worse? Don't you think that's worse? Let's just strictly from Bill Maher's perspective, which is worse? A group of people in a stadium at a rally chanting a political slogan, lock her up, or a sitting congresswoman telling her constituents to go out and harass Trump supporters, harass Trump administration members in the streets. Another congresswoman saying that Sarah Huckabee Sanders should have a lifelong harassment campaign against her because of her participation in the Trump campaign or the Trump administration. Which one is more extreme to you? I know which one's more extreme to me. And really, here's where he's missing the plot. Here's where he doesn't understand the conservative argument. Hillary Clinton is a criminal. I don't know if Bill Maher really understands that. It's very easy to think that conservatives are insane if they're just chanting to lock up their political opponent. But it's not insane if you want to lock up somebody who has committed a crime. What they're chanting for is to uphold the law, for the law to be the same across the board. That's what they're chanting for. Let's go back to the clip.
Encouragement of civility?
I don't think it's...
I mean, and it's not just lock her up. He talked about locking Comey up. He talks about locking journalists up. There's a guy who said lock Tim Kaine up. How about we stop the lock them up? Shouldn't the civility argument start there before we care about who gets their entree?
Well, it isn't just about who gets their entree. It's about who gets harassed in public. By the way, I'm not going to make excuses for President Trump's statements.
But which is more important?
Well, I think that all of it is important. If you're going to ask me, I think we can chew gum and walk at the same time, can't we? Can't we just say incivility is bad across the board?
Yes, but you can't be a person...
Why is it that we're only opposed, when you're a Democrat, you're only opposed to incivility when it's Donald Trump, but suddenly Maxine Waters is anti-Maxine?
Because, Ben, you can't walk into a room and see an elephant and a mouse and not know which one is bigger.
Okay, so essentially Ben Shapiro says, can't we just say incivility across the board is what we're against? And essentially Bill Maher says, no, it really does only matter when it's Trump. And then he says, well, can't you walk into a room and see an elephant and a mouse and know which one's bigger? No, you can't, because clearly you're looking at a mouse and going, everyone clear the room, there's a mouse, everyone watch out. And your friends are being stomped on by a giant raging elephant. You freaking idiot! You have people calling for Trump administration officials, calling for Trump supporters to be harassed and attacked in the streets. They are harassed. They are attacked. There are so many videos of Trump supporters bleeding on the streets, being beaten while people yell, they're Trump supporters, get them. Trump comes out and says, hey, the journalists are lying to you, and apparently that's bigger to you. That's the more dangerous thing. Bill Maher, he's not an idiot. He's not an idiot. He is not insane. he is evil. All of these people are liars, they're deceivers, and they are evil. Here's a perfect example of that. Clip number 2.
I mean, he tweeted yesterday defending Putin against what our own agencies say. That he said Russia says again they didn't meddle in the election.
Dude says a lot of crappy stuff.
But why?
A lot of immoral
why
stuff.
have there been 19 indictments and 6 convictions so far in the Mueller inquiry? Why so many lies about so many meetings with so many Russians, so many attempts to have back channel sources?
I have a question. Do you actually think that Donald Trump colluded with Vladimir Putin?
Yes.
Do you?
He does. He is so certain that Trump colluded with Vladimir Putin because of, as he laid it out, this overwhelming amount of proof. Look at all of these indictments, 19 indictments. Let's go over the 19 indictments, shall we? One of them was for Flynn. He met a Russian ambassador after the election, and he lied about it to the FBI. So he met the ambassador in December 2016 to talk about an upcoming UN resolution when he was already tapped to be in the administration. He lied about that meeting to the FBI, was fired, and was indicted for it. George Papadopoulos, he lied to the FBI about a timing with a meeting with some guy, literally nothing to do with the Trump campaign, just absolutely pointless. Paul Manafort, conspiracy to launder money he got from the Ukraine. This is your proof. Rick Gates, the same thing as Paul Manafort, and then the rest of the 13 Russian trolls who bought Facebook ads. So yeah, when Bill Maher can list it out and just go, well, there are 19 indictments and all these convictions and all these people and all these meetings. There was one. There was one meeting with Donald Trump Jr., and he sent out all the emails. He laid it out exactly what was happening. It was totally not nefarious. There was nothing underhanded. And yet somehow, for some reason, this is proof for Bill Maher that Trump conclusively, absolutely colluded with Vladimir Putin. You are a liar. You are trying to gaslight your entire audience, and they all cheer for it like freaking howler monkeys. It's incredible the way that they are able to manipulate the minds of these sheep people. They are sheep people. Let's go to clip number 3 for just another bold lie.
Well, he's not too ignorant. He's not too ignorant to be a criminal, Ben. He's been a criminal his whole life.
Okay, but
we've seen that.
Bill,
he's a scam artist. He's a con artist.
I don't know how I turned into the Trump defender here, but is he a doofus or is he an evil genius? You got to pick one.
Okay.
I love his face. I love his face at the end of that clip because Ben Shapiro makes a great point. And so, first of all, Bill Maher just comes out and just says he's been a criminal his whole life. What? What? He's been in the public eye for 40 years. People have said, though, he's heartless. Oh, he makes really intense deals. Oh, he didn't spend a bunch of money to save this piece of art that other people wanted him to save. But nobody's ever accused him of being a criminal. He hasn't been a criminal his whole life. This is the insanity of the left. They convince themselves that he's somehow colluding with Russia, and then that just gets convoluted in their head that actually he's a lifelong criminal with no evidence, no proof, no even attempt to make such evidence or proof for the claim. And then Ben Shapiro says, well, okay, but you're painting him as simultaneously a complete idiot that's completely incompetent and that he has the ability to collude with another superpower, rig the entire U.S. election, and then hide all of the evidence from everybody in the world who's trying to take it. You can't hold these two views. That is cognitive dissonance. Which one is it? Is he a genius or is he a doofus? And Bill Maher's reaction is, which is hilarious, but then he does the classic liberal thing. Nothing says you just beat me in an argument than comparing Trump to Hitler. Rolled clip.
Actually, you don't. You don't have to pick one.
Really?
Look, I'm not saying he's like Hitler, but But Hitler was crazy, and he was a genius at what he did, which was lie and manipulate people. So you can be both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there you go. So make a point that Bill Maher's full of BS, and he'll do the classic liberal move of compare your opponent to Hitler. Brilliant, just brilliant. So glad he has his own TV show. Now let's go to this, again, it's just the absurdity. It just gets more and more absurd. Let's go to clip number 5.
Okay, but let's get back to Russia, because first of all, why a nice Jewish boy like you wants to be on Team Treason, I have no idea.
Team Treason. Team Treason. The Republicans are apparently Team Treason. This is from the other team. This is coming from the team that burns the American flag, that tears up the posters that say free speech, that waves Mexican flags at our rallies, and basically wants America to be completely dissolved into a global system. And yet, we're the treasonous ones. And yet, we're the ones who hate America. You're being gaslit, people. You're being lied to. You are being fooled and tricked by these incredibly charismatic and evil jesters of the entertainment industry. And for the final clip, let's just lay it out just how factually dishonest these people will be. Final clip.
Where's the evidence?
But you know that the Republican Congress, we saw it this week with Rosenstein at Congress, they are trying to impeach Rosenstein so they can get rid of him, so we don't ever see. They don't want us ever to see it. They know there's something, probably 1,000 things in there that are incredibly damning.
They don't want us to ever see it. Didn't you see the Rosenstein hearing? Didn't you hear all the Republicans trying to hide information, trying to stop all this from coming out? They're just trying to stop Rosenstein from saying anything. Literally the opposite is true. Here's clips from the Rosenstein hearing.
Mr. Rosenstein, why are you keeping information from Congress? In a few minutes, the House of Representatives is going to go on record saying you haven't complied with requests from a separate and equal branch of government, that you haven't complied with subpoenas, and I want to know why you won't give us what we've asked for.
Now, the Justice Department had previously provided text messages from that date. They included all the messages we now have except the "we'll stop it" text message. Why didn't the Justice Department produce that to Congress when we asked?
Will all of the documents relating to that tarmac meeting be produced in an unredacted format? The president declassified the documents. How quickly could they be produced? We too want to know all the information. That's why we keep asking these questions. I mean,
when you talk about providing documents to the Intelligence Committee, I have no problem with your doing that, but all of that information should be made available to this committee as well.
If you have evidence of wrongdoing by any member of the Trump campaign, present it to the damn grand jury. If you have evidence that this president acted inappropriately, present it to the American people.
So there you have it. Bill Maher watched that testimony, and that hearing, those questions, and what he took away from that was the Republicans are trying to stifle the investigation. The Republicans are trying to discredit the investigation, when literally the main point of all of the Republicans' questioning is, why won't you show us the evidence? Why won't you make it available? Why are you hiding things? Let's bring it into the light. They're not just lying to you. They're not just telling you falsehoods. They're telling you the opposite of truth. They are telling you the exact opposite of what reality is. That is how they gaslight you. That is why they have entire studios full of Bill Maher's sheep bleeding and laughing at everything he says, because they are completely brainwashed. They are completely captivated. They have been controlled. They are fed nothing but false information that is not just false, it is the opposite of true, and it's not an accident. He's not an idiot. He's not insane. I'm not going to conjecture that he's just an insane person like he does to me. I'm going to say that he is very thoughtfully and very purposefully lying to you, because he's a member of a cabal that's all over the world, that infests all these different types of industries. It infests Hollywood, it infests corporations, it infests government, and they want to bring down America. And the way they have to do that is by getting the American people to bring themselves down. We are too powerful to be brought down by an outside force. The only way that they can destroy us is by getting ourselves to tear ourselves down. They're trying to divide us, they're trying to gaslight us, and they're trying to convince us to tear down our own walls so we have no more defense when they want to take control. Bill Maher is not just a jester, he is an evil person working on behalf of Satan and his minions. For Infowars.com, this has been Harrison Smith.
This 4th of July is special. Everybody can see it, they can feel it. The globalists are attempting to kill a worldwide awakening to their tyranny. And America, yet again, is at the heart of the resistance, the globalist. That's why this 4th of July, I'm asking all of our great supporters to think about Infowars now more than ever. And what would the world be like if Infowars wasn't there resisting the globalists? What would have happened if you hadn't supported Infowars? We would not be having the victories we have today. So yes, a lot of good things are happening, but the enemy is striking back. So please, think about Infowars and funding our operation while you get great products at the same time on this 4th of July that's so historic. We have record sales going on right now. Free shipping on hundreds of different items. More than 20 items are 50% off, like Brain Force Plus. X2 is 40% off. Knockout Sleep Aid, $17.76. Silver Bullets, $9.95 colloidal silver. And free shipping, you can't beat that. This 4th of July is special, and our sales are special to match it. InfoWarsStore.com.